Hello everyone, my name is Sark and welcome back to another Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi action figure review. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at what might be the last figure that I get from Japan for the meantime. This made it clear, well, I still got charged for this figure with the tariffs and everything, but this is GWENOM from Spider-Man Maximum Venom series. I'm pretty sure it was the comic book series that was going on. It looks really cool. I was really excited for this one. I was going to get the original Gwen, the Spider-Gwen, but it ended up selling out and I couldn't get it. I'm not sure if Big Bad Toy Store still has it. If they do, then I might get it, but without further ado, let's take this one out and see how she looks. Alright, so here we have GWENOM herself, and I gotta say, this is a pretty nice looking figure. Yeah, I just really like the finish that they did for this figure. It's, I'm pretty sure, very similar to what they've done with other symbiote figures, but this one does have kind of like a purple hue, which is really nice. Also pinkish, which it's very reminiscent of like other Venom figures, of course. Although the last Yamaguchi figure that we took a look at, which was the Agent Venom, didn't really have a hue whatsoever. It was mostly just black and white. But this one does kind of have like a nice, it's like a metallic look of sorts. Not necessarily metallic, but it's really shiny. And then on camera, you can definitely see like that purple hue all together, which is really nice. Now, granted, I do think the figure does have some issues, but it's mostly in the articulation and also all that sort of stuff, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Aesthetically, she looks really nice. I really like the texture that's going on with the actual suit. It's very, like, sticky-like. It feels like it's sticky, so it definitely captures that symbiote aesthetic, in my opinion. It's very nice looking. Very well done throughout the entirety of the suit, even all the different pieces and everything. Although, there are a couple of areas, like, I don't necessarily like the hood, the way that it kind of overlaps. I understand it's supposed to be like the mouth. The way that they did the hood over here kind of bothers me, but aesthetically it doesn't look the greatest. But it is meant to have a bunch, or a nice, decent amount of articulation, so it makes sense. Yeah, also the neck is just like a gigantic neck, but it makes sense because you don't necessarily have the traps over here. Like, for some reason, she's missing her traps. She has her shoulders right here, but there's a whole muscle group completely missing. And I understand that the hood is technically supposed to be hiding that, but I don't know. I feel like they could have definitely done that a little bit better. Even just make like this sculpt go a little bit higher. I don't know. They could have done it slightly better, because from the back, you're not going to look at her from the back unless you're like looking at this, of course, which I know some of you will. But besides that, she looks pretty good. In terms of the size, I didn't really measure her, but she is about 5.5 inches, which is actually a pretty small figure, but I think it's pretty in line with the Amazing Yamaguchi female figures. Here I have the Catwoman that they released last year. Almost the same size. I think she's slightly taller, so I'm pretty sure I think the original Gwen is also slightly taller, but I might be wrong on that because I don't have her. So I definitely want to get her one day. But yeah, aesthetically she looks great. Now, articulation, that is where Amazing Yamaguchi kind of excels at most of the time. So for the neck, you can definitely look up. Like, look at that. That is insane range. Granted, you're going to get a huge gap there. Looking down, you also get pretty decent range. And then the hood does kind of have like this hinge right here that allows it to move up and down. Is it the greatest? No, not really, but it works for what it's meant to do right there. So she can look down pretty far. Looking side to side could be an issue because of the hood itself. The hood is like, well, just the neck itself is very loose, but it does work to an extent. So yeah, For the arms, you can get them above a T-pose, which is really nice. That's perfect in my opinion. You can rotate them 360 degrees if you wanted to. Do be careful with moving your joints because, again, Amazing Yamaguchi does have at least for me, it has a track record of things breaking easily there. So do be careful with those. But yeah, no, it's really nice. No, actually, there is butterfly joints. Huh. There are butterfly joints. Wow. Did they usually do butterfly joints? Well, there you go. Mine, the right one was stuck. But she does have butterfly joints, so she can get her arms about this close together. I think one of them is stuck for me. Yeah, one of them is just stuck, probably because of the paint. That's another thing with this figure. The paint is going to make her so she's stuck a little bit every now and then. And I'll explain in what areas she might get stuck on. So the shoulders or the butterfly joints are one of them, are one area where she could get a little bit stuck, which is fine. No bicep swivel because they're allergic to bicep swivels, especially for female figures. Single jointed elbow that actually looks really nice, gets better, really good articulation past 90 degrees, and a wrist hinge right here, which is good. And of course, these are not technically fists, they're just hands to hold webs. For the torso, they do have great torso articulation going backwards this far, which is really nice. And the greatest thing is that it can actually go really far forward with the torso itself. So they actually do get it right where the torso is supposed to go further forward than it goes further back, unlike some companies. Bandai. But yeah, really good articulation here. It's like perfect in my opinion. Like this is like what the standard should be in my opinion. Like you don't even get that many gaps either. Yeah, you get this massive gap over here, but besides that, like you're mostly gonna look at her from the front. And then for the legs, she can kick forward this far. So like it's insane. This figure does have great articulation. Granted, she doesn't have much going on for her. The waist piece is actually a soft plastic. It's not super soft, but it is malleable for the figure to not break, which is awesome. So she can kick forward pretty high, or she can kick really, really high. And then going backwards is going to go to the side, but about there. You can definitely push it, of course, but it's going to just go straight to the side. She does have a thigh swivel that mine were actually stuck because of the paint. So that's another area that your figure could get stuck. Something that I did was actually, I just made it. So this part right here hits the center of the crotch, and then just make it so you just kind of move it slightly, and it should snap in place. And then you can then move your thigh swivel however you want. So I'm actually going to show it right here. So push it forward. It's going to move the entire thing. You're going to get to a certain part about here, and then you're just going to slightly push it. You kind of see it's going to slightly move here and there. And then same thing going backwards. So if your thigh swivels are stuck, that's something that you can do. Oh, I didn't notice that it had that. She does have a single jointed knee that looks okay. The issue with this is that they do cut a section of the thigh right here for it to actually have good range and for it to look decently smooth. Although they didn't need to cut that much. There's a major gap right there. Look how much of a gap there is. That's a lot. Yeah, you have really great articulation, but that just breaks the sculpting of the figure. Like, you can definitely see the leg, especially from the side. She doesn't have any meat here. There should be meat. Like, I understand that they try to get the most articulation, but sometimes it's not worth it. Especially figures like the Catwoman. Look how much meat she has here. Granted, her knees is a little bit different. She does have an actual joint, like a ball joint or ball hinge instead, but she still gets great range of articulation. It's not as like outrageous, but yeah, it's interesting how they thought of that. And then we do have what a lot of people are really excited for the new Bandai stuff or the new Dragon Ball Goku figure, the ball jointed calf. So you can rotate it and then you can kind of pivot it up and forward and back. Not so much side to side, actually, so that's interesting. For the foot, you can pivot it forward this far, backwards this far, side to side, of course, and then a toe hinge that is probably stuck as well. Yeah, so it's just gonna be a little stuck because of the paint, but it does go forward really high, and it's pretty flush. Doesn't look that bad, so I really like that. So yeah, I spent a lot of time just with the articulation. It was like 6 minutes, so I do apologize for that, but I think it was definitely worth it because this figure does have really good articulation, and she also has a decent amount of accessories. So let's take a look at those real quick. All right, so here are all of the accessories for this GWENOM figure. There's a lot. So yeah, you can see most of it is tongue, which is interesting because, of course, Venom has a tongue and everything like that. But we do have the tongue that wraps around her entire body. Now, the way that this works, I'm pretty sure you just attach it over here or try to wrap around this thing over the waist, making sure it actually does wrap around. You plug it in, and then this is supposed to wrap around this leg over here. So you just make sure to wrap it around as best as you can, and voila, it goes right in, hopefully. There you go. So pretty simple. It's not going directly in because the peg is too big, actually. There you go. So you just have to force it in a little bit, and it looks great. Honestly, really good accessory. This is how I'm going to be using her for my display for sure. And I like that it's not just like the typical, like really big mouth for the face itself, but it's like the hood itself is actually the face or the mouth. That's really nice. So great accessory so far. Really love that. Actually, I missed 1 point, I think. No, never mind. No, I got everything. So yeah. Then there is the entire tongue as well. You'll see it assembled. I'm not entirely sure how it's supposed to be assembled. I'm pretty sure you can assemble it however you want, at least per the instructions. I'm pretty sure there is a specific way, because here's the end of the tongue and there's the rest of it as well. So I'm not going to assemble it here, but you'll see it assembled during the video, during my final thoughts section. 2 different webs that are actually pink colored, and I actually really like this because it's really nice. It differentiates it between other Spider-Man figures, so really nice inclusion. For the hands, we do have 2 open displayed hands, 2 whipping hands, and also 2 clawing hands as well. Although you can also consider these clawing hands, but these are more grasping, aggressive clawing hands. We do have the wingspan that you can attach to the back of her as well. And then we, last but not least, for the natural accessories or the regular accessories, we do have the angry face sculpt, which was a little messed up on mine, but that's fine. I have no issue. Very nice finish as well. Love the way that it looks. And of course, we have the regular Kyoto. Actually, I think this one is a little bit different because it does have an extra section here instead of just the regular 2. Usually, they only have like the 1 and 1 for the arms. Instead of the 3, they usually only have 2. But this one has 3, so for a Spider-Man related figure, it's nice to actually have more than just the 2. Because sometimes you actually want them to go high, and in this instance, you'll be able to do that. So the last thing is the Kyoto store exclusive faceplate. This is probably one of the cooler looking faceplates that I've ever seen. Granted, it is not perfect. A little bit of the white actually seeped through into the black, which is unfortunate, but this turning face sculpt looks fantastic. Again, I do not have the regular Gwen, so I'm not entirely sure if this fits her. But if someone does have her, let me know. But that's pretty much everything for the accessories. Of course, we have the 2 replacement pegs for the tongue and any and I'm pretty sure for the wrists as well, which is really nice. Kyoto, thank you for including those as always. But besides that, going into my final thoughts, this is a great figure. I absolutely love everything about this figure. Granted, there are a couple of things, like more aesthetically or aesthetic things that I don't necessarily like as much, so I can't really say that it's perfect. But as an overall score, I'm actually going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's pretty fairly priced, honestly, although Kyoto figures are definitely going higher and higher up in price every single time, which is unfortunate. But this figure is actually worth it in my opinion. especially if you have the original Gwen Stacy, then this one is going to be perfect for your display. And I have a bunch of Venom figures, surprisingly, so something that I didn't notice until now. But yeah, this will go perfectly with my display. But besides that, that's pretty much all the time I have for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this figure. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know down in the comments below, because I myself like it. But besides that, like and subscribe and all that sort of jazz, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.